The famed African-American photographer and artist Carrie Mae Weems once stated, "The camera gave me an incredible freedom. It gave me the ability to parade through the world and look at people and things very, very closely." In that firm yet strong message, she is perhaps right in many ways. Some say cameras are a gateway to the world of sensory interpretation. Place one in the hands of three artists and tell them to take a picture of a tree, and you will most likely receive three interpretations of that moment. Through her eyes, Atlanta photographer Julie Yarbrough interprets emotions and attitudes of her subjects. She allows her subjects to communicate a story to her, effectively allowing her to hear the image that we ultimately see. Yarbrough's subjects have spanned multiple genres for more than 20 years. She has carved a path of success while inspiring many to follow in her steps. As a passionate artist, she spreads her gospel of photography to students in and around Atlanta, Georgia. These are her words and philosophies of the art.
Being a female photographer, when I first started, really my freelance work, which I would say would be around 2002, I didn't see a whole lot of female photographers out there doing what I did, special events, weddings, headshots. You would run into more male photographers than you would female photographers. Okay. Not that there weren't females out there, but you would see more males than females. And then you would see more Caucasian females than African American females. So I think that a lot of people that you run into would be surprised, like, "Oh, you're a photographer?" I got a lot of that. If I tell people, "Oh yeah, I do, I'm a photographer, I do this, that, and the other." "Oh, really?" They'd be surprised, like, "Oh, black women do that?" Like, yes, we do, I would run into a lot of that. And then they would, look at your equipment and say, "Oh, wow, that looks real professional." And you're like, "Yeah, well, I am professional, I gotta have the right equipment to get the job done." So people are amazed, like, "Oh, and she has equipment too?" And you're like, yeah. The rough side of photography business is putting on my business hat and not just my creative hat, so that's hard. For me and some other people that I know that are in the business of art. As a photographer, for what I do for PR and special events, it's more like assignments, So you get this these directions or this charge from your client to say, "This is what we want." They may give you a shot list, and it's your job to get these images.
It's Tuesday, better known as Studio Day to Yarbrough. Working with her subjects is a prized time in the week.
So a lot of young people I see are interested in this field because it's part of life right now. And so for them, picking up a camera, get your YouTube lessons, but I still think it's good to maybe find a mentor, take a class and really learn your gear, basically. I always, I teach adult education at the Atlanta School of Photography, and, I teach the Photo 1, Photo 2. Before we're trying to be creative, and conceptualize things, I want people to understand how to use their cameras, basically. Because once you understand the fundamentals of photography, then, okay, that now you can explore and screw things up purposely. So, you want to imagine like a string is pulling through your spine, so you're really elongating, so you're really sitting up tall.
Okay.
Sometimes people tend to like lean back when I say that, so I may have you bend towards the light or bend towards camera. And so what I want you to do, Sean, you don't have to smile yet. I want you to lean towards that light a little bit, bending, nice, good, nice. And I want you to bring your chin this way just a hair. Nice, chin down just a hair. Here we are, gonna lean, yes. Nice, Sean, good, good. Here we are, that's perfect. Stay there. I'm gonna move a little closer. Has photography changed in, over the years? And I'd say yes, because of the digital technology and the styles in which we shoot portraits and shoot special events like weddings. That style has completely changed with digital technology. I mean, you look at portrait style of the 90s to 2020 is completely different. You see lens flare and pictures now, and like in the 90s we don't want lens flare. To me, I was taught, have the camera straight. If I'm doing a portrait, don't have it tilted. Don't do a portrait in horizontal mode. It's a vertical portrait. No lens flare. And now it's like, it's not like that. So styles have changed, and it's made me change. Like, I consciously, and I think I've kind of broken myself now, but I had to like get out of it's okay if there's a little lens flare. It's, I can do a headshot depending on how they're using it. So if they wanna, you think of a client that wants to use a headshot for Instagram, it's easier to shoot it horizontal and crop it square than shooting it vertical and cropping it square. I like that. Very dramatic. I like the dramatic light there. All right, so we're gonna make it look. We're gonna turn off the backlight because it's kind of graduated. So we're just gonna get some where it's just goes to black back there.
Okay.
All right, so give me some of the similar poses. So you're working your shot kind of towards that light. So the light's coming from that side.
Okay.
So you're kind of working it that way. Nice.
Okay.
In October of 2015, the time came for Yarbrough to exhibit her art at Georgia State University's Rialto Theater.
Now the show is called Images I Hear, and the images that I've showed you, most of them have been musicians, but I'm also featuring some local visual artists. So this is a visual artist that has inspired me for a long time. His name is Jim Alexander. He's a photographer. He's a documentary photographer. He has documented civil rights in the South. He has documented a lot of jazz musicians and performance. And this is a portrait I took of him in 2002. Hiromi, this is a performer, jazz festival, pianist, very talented. She did, during this time she was here in 2010, she was collaborating with Stanley Clarke, and it was spectacular. So at this point she was performing with Stanley Clarke, and I have an image of him upstairs. I was asked by a local curator, Karen Comer. She asked if I would be interested in showing my work for a month at the Rialto, which is the theater, Georgia State's theater downtown. And it was about a month before the show would need to go up. So I was like, oh, yeah, I would love to. And she's like, do you have a body of work that's something you've been working on? And I'm thinking, I don't want to say no, So I had to think about my work, And it's interesting that me being so for many years, I've been a part-time freelancer, So I have been in business for myself now for 3 years, but for many years, I did photography for business part-time. Okay, so and I did some creative work for myself, and through a group that I'm a part of, Cystography. I would exhibit with them, and I've probably been in about 14 exhibitions with them. So I'd have like 1 or 2 pieces per exhibition from a theme that we came up with. So, I don't think I really thought about having bodies of work kind of when she proposed this to me. So I kind of had to look back over at my work and say, okay, what have I been shooting for myself? What have I obviously enjoyed shooting that I can pull and make it a cohesive body of work? I think a lot of us don't print our work, especially with the digital technology. We just kind of look at it on a screen, and it looks so different printed. So to see it printed and to see how people reacted to it and responded to it was a good feeling for me. The City of Atlanta has never commissioned me to cover the Jazz Festival for them. It's just a project that I kind of, I guess, assigned to myself to be there every year and document. And then for them to come around and say, somebody told somebody that Julie's been out there. We see her every year with her camera. Let's see what she has. Let's see what work she has. And for them to come to me and say, oh gosh, you have some awesome work. We'd love you to be in this. But that's an accomplishment to me. So, you always tell people, do what you love, and things will pay off. And that was kind of one of those moments in my life, I'd have to say. So having relationships and networking with other professionals in your field is very important. So I think I kind of got my network base through my job working in retail. So for many years, I sold photographic equipment. And, of course, the local photographers, Atlanta photographers would come in and, I would talk with them about, they'd come in with questions, and I would hopefully answer a lot of those questions and help them find the equipment they need, for their bag. And it's amazing how much I learned being in that environment. So I really did build a strong network with Atlanta photographers that would come into the shop. It's paid off for me. So, there's a photographer, I do second shooting on weddings, and I met him through that, So I've made a lot of friends and made a lot of connections.
A few times, so I don't know the setting without looking at them, but there are 2 different power settings. This one being a little brighter because I had a rope bounce attached to it, and it's bouncing into.
But I would like to do something to continue to teach. That would be something that I would always do. I'm always wanting to say, you holding that? Watch, make sure you have that strap on. Hold that camera. Why don't you use the viewfinder? I don't do that to many people, but I kind of look at people's techniques and I'm like, okay. I just don't see myself retiring. I'm gonna keep going until I can't go anymore.